Welcome to podcast number 3, where we're going to discuss weak acid equilibria constants. Well, as I warned you guys in the last chapter, equilibria constants are not going away. And so here, let's start with weak acid equilibria constants, right? Because not everything that we're going to come across is going to be a strong acid or a strong base. When we have a weak acid, remember, they do not completely ionize. And so they're only going to ionize partially. I have a general equation for this, which I call my prototype equation here, which is where I have a weak acid, which I'm going to give the symbol of Hb, reacting with water, and that's going to come to equilibria with some hydronium cations and some weak base. All right, so this would be the conjugate base of the weak acid, if we're keeping track at home, which is going to be helpful for us as we go through it. Now we're going to have two types of reactions where we're going to see this, and so one is where we have a species that is something like a weak acid that we've seen a lot of before, like an HNO2. We could recognize this as being an acid because we have the H out in front, and then we have the rest of our molecule there. And so that has an ionizable hydrogen, but it's not a strong acid, it's a weak acid. So that is going to follow along with our reaction. And if you notice, right, it has the H is going to react with the water to become H3O plus. And then the B part from up here, that is our NO2, right? That is the B part from up here, there. Okay, so it's following that pattern. Cations can also behave as weak acids, and it depends on the cations, and by the end of the chapter we're going to know which cations do, but one of the main ones that we're going to see is something like the ammonium cation. The ammonium cation can donate a proton and give that to the water so that the water becomes the hydronium cation, and then if the NH4 plus has lost a proton, it is now just NH3, and that's the conjugate base of the weak acid NH4 plus. Well, our NH4 plus was our example of a cation acting as a weak acid there on our previous slide, but many of our metal cations can also do the same thing. Right, for the most part, any metal cation that is not from group 1 or group 2 can be a weak acid. All right, so just think about like our transition metals for the most part. They are usually going to behave as weak acids. And so just like the fact that we learned earlier that H plus doesn't actually exist in water, it forms the H3O plus cation, the hydronium cation. Metal ions don't actually kind of just float around in water the way that we think about them. Right? Something like our zinc becomes something that we call a hydrated species. And so instead of there just being zinc floating around in water, it actually is going to coordinate itself or bond itself with water molecules. And so when it does that, it's going to weaken some bonds. And so when it weakens those bonds, it makes it easier for something to come by and steal a hydrogen from it. So if we draw this out a little bit, right, I can show that I have zinc, and it's going to surround itself with water molecules. All right, like so. And what's happening here is that the zinc is positively charged, right? This is zinc 2, right? 2 plus in there. Well, what that means is that it doesn't have enough electrons around it. And so it is pulling electron density in towards it. All right, and so as it's pulling those electron density in towards it, if a water molecule comes by here, it can steal one of these H pluses and become the H3O plus cation. Right? And so thus it's becoming an acid. It's going to become something that is donating a proton. Well, it's time for us to do our equilibria constant then? We have seen that I have my weak acid. All right, I'm going back to my generic equation so that we can do this for any weak acid. My weak acid reacts with water to form the hydronium cation, and we are left over with a conjugate base. This comes to an equilibria. So I can say that we can describe this as a Ka. Again, this is called the acid equilibria constant. We will never call it the acid equilibria constant. We always just call it Ka. So Ka, if I simplify that equation, right, notice that I'm just getting rid of the waters. There's a water in here, and there's a water in here, and I'm just making that H+, right? And that just becomes this equation. I could write the whole thing out, but you know what? It's just simplifying it so we don't have to write H3O+ every time when I write this out. So the Ka is products divided by reactants. So our products are H+ concentration times our B- concentration divided by our HB. Okay, I want us to note in here that H+ and B- are usually 1-to-1 ratios. If 1-to-1, which they will be most of the time, then I can simplify this to say that Ka is equal to H+. All right, so H+ times a value that's the same as H+ would be like saying H+ squared divided by our HB. So we're going to see this written this way a heck of a lot because almost all of our acid-base equations, when we're talking about these, are going to be 1-to-1 when it comes out in the wash. So if you see that, that means the same thing as this Ka, right? Now, we can also then look and say, all right, the Ka values are going to tell us how strong or weak our weak acids are. Now, they're all weak acids when we're talking about this, right? But they might be stronger weak acids or they might be weaker weak acids. So the smaller the Ka, the weaker the acid. So think about that. The smaller the Ka, what that's saying is that the numerator is going to be smaller, so we've produced fewer H+, right? And so thus it isn't ionizing as much. So it's pretty darn weak. Now we also have a Kb, right, which we call the base equilibria constant, but again, we're never going to call it the base equilibria constant, we're just going to call it a Kb. And so that is shown as being the Hb times our OH over B-. We're going to show that equation all by itself a little bit later on. Right now in this podcast, we're focused on our weak acid equilibria constant. All right, not only can we solve for a Ka value, but we can also then solve for a pKa value. And so remember that that p just means that we're going to take the negative log of what follows it. So we're going to take the negative log of the Ka. Right? And so what this I want us to get is just like this pattern here just says that the smaller the pKa is, the stronger our acid is. All right, and that's just kind of like whenever we had, right, the smaller our pH, the stronger our acid was. It's the same thing, so it's following that same trend as it does for pH. So just in case you're sitting there and you're taking an exam, it gives you a group of different pKa's and it wants to know which of these weak acids is the strongest. You'd pick the smallest of those values. All right, let's do a sample problem with a weak acid and see how this is played out. All right, here we have a weak acid, barbituric acid, right? It's not one of our 7 strong acids. And so it's used to make sedatives. And we have a 325 ml solution of barbituric acid, and we know its pH. All right, and it also contains 9 grams of the acid. What is the Ka for this? So I have written out here what we're going to kind of do. All right, first off, we're going to calculate the concentration of barbituric acid from the mass and the volume. So let's start with that. Let's go with our 9 grams. All right, and I could write out barbituric acid here like that, yeah, but I'm just going to write barbituric acid because you know what? That's a huge compound thing to write out. Then I'm going to say, okay, there is 1 mole of it weighs 128.09 grams. And so we have 0.0703 moles. All right, now if I want the concentration of the barbituric acid, that is going to be 0.0703 moles divided by, all right, it is in 325 mils, so 0.325 liters. And we see that this is 0.216 molar. All right, so we calculated the concentration from the mass and volume. All right, next off, right, it wants us to determine the H plus concentration from our pH. All right, so let's do that on our next slide, where we've got a little bit more room to write. All right, so our H plus concentration, right, is going to be equal to, right, our 10 to the minus pH. And so 10 to the minus, and the pH given to us was 2.34. So 0.0046 molar. Okay, now we need to determine, right, the equilibria concentrations, because we need equilibria values to plug into an equilibria expression, right? A Ka that is an equilibria we need equilibria values. We don't have equilibria values necessarily. So let's just start with the fact that we're going to say, okay, right, I'm going to say that initially change and equilibria, and I'm going to say that this column is for that, this column is for this one, and this column is for that one there, so we know what we're doing. All right, so our initial concentration of barbituric acid we found on the previous slide was 0.216 moles per liter. All right, before any of that dissolves, we're going to say that I don't have any of the products yet, right? It has not dissolved yet to make those products. I don't know my changes yet, but let's wait off on that and let's see what else we can kind of find here. The only other piece of information that we were given is this 0.0046 molar. All right, well, that is the H plus concentration, right? And that's when we knew that the solution has a pH of this, so that is actually at equilibria. So let's say that the H plus concentration at equilibria is 0.0046. This is actually enough information for us to fill out the rest of this table, because I know for me to get from 0 to 0.0046, this has to go up by 0.0046. All right, well, also at the same time, the other thing, this conjugate base, has to also go up by 0.0046. All right, well, in order for those to go up by that amount, since everybody is 1 to 1 to 1, this has to go down by 0.0046. So this is going to be 0.211. Now we have everything to plug into our Ka. Our Ka is going to be the C4H3 into O3 minus times our H plus divided by our barbituric acid. All right, so we can plug in, and this is 0.0046 times 0.0046, or that squared, divided by 0.211. And so the Ka for this ends up being 1 times 10 to the minus 14th. All right, so that then is going to end this podcast. And so in our next podcast, we are going to bring up the idea of percent ionizations. How much do these acids actually break apart? And then any approximations that we might use in the calculations as we go forward.